We are live, guys. Hello, welcome along. My name is Bianca. Happy Friday. I'm Bianca, and I am that plant-based weight loss coach. I want to share with you today my top seven, and there's probably going to be an extra little hack in there or two. My top seven food swaps that will save you a huge amount of calories over the days, the weeks, the months, and the years, which I personally use to keep my body fat percentage low, to stay lean, to stay satisfied throughout the day. Because the worst thing about trying to diet and lose weight is about feeling hungry. So these swaps are really going to help you cut back on consuming calories without noticing a difference in what you're eating. And quite often, in some cases, these swaps will actually fill you up more. But also while consuming less calories. Now, if you're someone who's just off the streets and you've just come from the dieting world out there, welcome along. I am not speaking total whack. There is a method to this. And if you are someone who struggled with dieting before, this is going to sound totally outrageous that you don't have to be hungry in order to lose weight. Now, yes, it's true, we have to be in a calorie deficit, but imagine if I said to you, you've got two options. You can be in a calorie deficit by starving yourself, by feeling really deprived, by having to cut back on your social life and not have fun. You may have to have a weight loss pill or injection, or maybe even have some shakes and have some smoothies, right? And your life is probably going to be a little bit shit. Or you can come over and jump over on our side where we are putting our body in, putting it into the right conditions so that you can lose weight without feeling deprived, without feeling starving and ravenous, like you're going to rip someone's head off, right? While going out to dine at restaurants with friends and family. And all it is just a trick of the trade. There's a couple of little things that I do. I keep my body fat percentage low. And sometimes when my body fat percentage starts creeping up, I dial back into these. I look at where these things have slipped, where I've made the swaps back. And I make these tiny swaps, tiny little swaps to stay lean without having to starve my ass off. Okay. Um, like these really work in, especially if you haven't gone whole food plant-based before. You might be thinking this just sounds like a load of wackadoodle, right? Like, how is this even possible? But some friends of mine came over for dinner once, and me and my partner made them a really nice vegan spread, and it was 100% plant-based, of course. It was really like high in volume. There was so much that we brought to the table. There was like loads of little different dishes. It was an Asian flavor. There was some tofu. There was like bang bang cauliflower, loads of like stir-fried veggies, rice. There was just so much food that we brought to the table, and they were like, "Oh my God, there's so much food. How are we going to eat it?" And me and my partner just looked at each other like, "Oh my God, we're going to smash this back. Like, we're going to have no problems putting this back." And they sort of like started eating, and they got full up really quickly. Now, these guys are meat eaters, okay? They got full up really quickly, and they looked at us and they were like, "Oh my God, how do you eat so much food and stay so lean?" And so I had to explain to them that when you're used to a whole food plant-based diet, you can eat loads of food. You can eat loads of food and keep your calories low. And they just really struggled to make the switch. They just struggled to make that connection and kind of like understand that there is a way that you can keep that body fat low, not feel like you're depriving yourself, and lose weight or even maintain weight. And so we really it really shocked them, really surprised them, but I think we introduced them to a better way of living. So let's just crack into it, shall we? So my first tip is to throw away any oil, any butter or margarines that you have in the house. You do not need them. Throw them out. I do not have oil or butter in my home because if it's in the home, then I'm going to use it, right? If it's around, I'm going to use it. Now, we can get plenty of healthy fats from our diet without needing oil. And the reason why oil has absolutely no place in my household is because I'm going to get the nutrients from other foods. I do not need to worry about the nutrients. Like, Even thinking about worrying that I'm not going to get the nutrients from oil, it just sounds silly to me because we are going to get all of those nutrients and more from the other foods that we eat. So, oil is a very calorie dense food. Now, you think about fats, right? When we think about fats, we probably think, oh my God, we need fats make us fat. We need to cut fats out. I'm not saying cut fats out, saying cut oil out because oil is fats that are stripped of their fiber, stripped of their water, stripped of their nutrients. So there's very small amounts left. And before you even start going, yes, but what about avocado oil and extra virgin olive oil? The principles say same principles applies. They are 100% fat. You do not need them in a lifestyle, especially when you are trying to lose weight. Why? Because they are calorie bombs. You have 1 tablespoon of oil in your food and you have just consumed 135 calories. If you're a calorie counter, you know that that is a snack, right? If you're not a calorie counter, I'm going to tell you that's a snack. I can have a whole head of broccoli for the same amount of calories as oil. Now, imagine if you just left 1 tablespoon of oil out with your lunch and you had the whole head of broccoli with that lunch instead. Think about how much more food you are able to consume. Now, if you're not a broccoli fan, who are you? Or if you're thinking, well, I don't want to eat a whole head of broccoli, this is just an example. Okay, there are so many other vegetables, so many other foods that are low calorie density that you can swap out for the oil that is going to keep you so much fuller. It's going to make you full. It's going to stretch your belly out. You're going to trigger those the hunger and satiation hormones. So you're going to trigger leptin. That's going to say, hey, oh my God, I'm so full. Thank you so much. And you're going to either consume the same amount of calories or even less. So really the trick is to cut out the calorie dense foods where possible and minimize them. So that's number one. Number two is I try and go for potatoes over things like rice or pasta. So of all the whole carbs, potatoes are the most satisfying starch on the planet. So we want starch. Starch isn't going to make us fat. Starch actually does the opposite. It keeps us feeling very satiated. It keeps us happy between our meals. And it just means that we're not reaching for more and more and more food. So opt for potatoes over rice because you just get more, again, more volume than the rice. So remember, weight loss, or I say remember, I should tell you guys that weight loss isn't about eating less, right? We should stop and abandon and throw away and burn in a bin the concept that you have to eat less to lose weight. It is just a myth. When you eat whole food plant-based, it does not apply. That rule does not apply. If you are eating a highly processed food, highly processed diet, a standard American diet, maybe even like a keto diet or a meat diet, yes, you're going to have to consume much less if you're not going to increase those low calorie density fruits, vegetables, starches, things like that. So making sure that I'm swapping like the occasional rice dish or pasta dish with potatoes. So essentially my starch for most of my meals is potatoes, but I also do have pasta, I do have rice, right? I don't eliminate those out, but the most of my starches throughout the week are going to be coming from potatoes because they make me feel more satisfied. I don't know if you've ever had a salad with no starch, maybe some tofu or beans, or if you eat meat, maybe some chicken or something, you have a salad. Imagine if you added like a potato to that, you would feel so much fuller. And I know this because I actually did this as an experiment to myself the other day. I know that potatoes are so filling. So I had a salad without and a salad with to just see the difference. The difference is phenomenal. The salad, I was going back for more and more food within half an hour to an hour. Like I was going straight back. The potatoes, whew, I stayed full all day. And so because I'm staying full, maybe not all day, but because I'm staying fuller for longer, I'm more satisfied. That means I'm not reaching out for calorie dense foods in between. Because when our blood sugar levels drop, when we get tired, when we get hungry, our body and brain are going to send out signals to the brain to eat calorie dense foods because it wants a spike quickly. So think, when you're hungry, do you run for a head of broccoli? You'll probably run for potato chips or cookies or something that is calorie dense, a handful of nuts. You will want to grab the calorie dense foods first. So if you do have just a salad, without something like potatoes as a starch, as a source of starch, then it's highly likely that you're going to want to gravitate towards the calorie dense snacks. That is going to blow you over your daily calorie intake for the way faster than just having a little bit of potato. So number three is I add a whole bag of salad to my meals. So if you're in the UK, you can get like salad bags like this. I'm sure you can get small salad bags in the States. And I would just crack open one of these. I can't remember what the grams are on them, so don't ask me. I would just crack open a whole bag of salad and just dump it in a bowl. Why? Because the calorie density of leaves are so low, but the nutrient profile is so high. We're going to get so many vitamins and minerals and fiber from this. It's going to make you poop, guys. It's going to make you poop a couple of times a day. And that is exactly what we want. We want loads of fiber. We want loads of poops. We want a healthy digestion. And of course, we want to be eating more to feel satisfied when we're dieting. Because remember, dieting doesn't mean eating less. Dieting means eating more of the right foods. So dieting doesn't feel horrible. So it doesn't feel like you're walking through hell. Okay. So I'm doubling my portion size and I'm actually able to reduce like the main bulk. So if I'm having, let's say, a plant-based lasagna. Let's say I make a plant-based lasagna. If I was to serve myself up a portion, it would probably be this big, right? With nothing else. If I have a whole bag of salad, like think about the space that that's going to take up in my stomach. I can have a little bit less. And that little bit less is not going to be nearly as much as that whole bag of salad. So I'm saving calories there. So I'm reducing the portion size of my main meal because that's going to be more calorie dense than the leaves. I get to double my portion size, but I can reduce the calories while I'm doing it. So see what I mean? Like these are all little sneaky ways in which I save on some calories. I'm like banking that shit like it's a piggy bank, right? The calories are going in, they're going in, and I'm like banking them here, left, right, and center. So that's number three. Number four is I use sweet potatoes as a sweet treat. I've literally my air fryer's just finished pinging now. I've got sweet potato in there. Okay, so a sweet potato in the air fryer is fantastic for a sweet treat. If you have if you know that you are under in your calories for the day, you can add a little bit of peanut butter or almond butter, but it really doesn't need that. It's nice and dense and sweet as it is, instead of opting for like chocolate bars and candy. Number five, I use peanut butter powder instead of peanut butter. That now, yes, I am whole food plant-based typically. And yes, some people might be like, why do you use that? Because that's not a whole food. It's just a sneaky hack that I use, and you don't have to use it. If it doesn't align with you and your diet because you want to eat whole foods, then that's fine. But this is my hack. I don't use, not at the moment, I'm not going to say that as a blanket term, but at the moment I am reducing my peanut butter intake because it's starting to get a little bit addictive. I don't know about you. Have you ever spooned out some and gone, oh, that's a good measure, and lick the spoon, right? It's those little licks. It's the little licks. It's anytime you say, I'm just going to have this, it's a little bite that actually starts topping you over on your daily calorie intake without even realizing. And so, as a replacement, because I love peanut butter, I'm just using peanut butter powder, which is basically the peanut butter but with the oils removed. And we've already discussed oil. That means you're reducing again the calorie density of the peanut butter. So, you get the peanut butter flavor but without the fats. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it's exactly the same because I do not want to lick the spoon like I do with the full peanut butter. But it's just another little trick that I use to keep the flavor, to keep my meals of the same essence, but reducing the calories so I don't feel deprived, so I don't feel like I'm on a diet, and so I don't feel like I'm missing out all the time. Number six is no nuts in the house. I do not have nuts in the house, especially open packets of nuts, because they are so easy to just grab and walk away. Now, nuts are fantastic for us. Again, great sources of nutrients. We've got fiber, we've got fats, and so much more in there as well. However, because they are a source of healthy fats, they do contain a bit of protein, but there's much more fat, so we classify them as a fat. Because they contain more fats, they are again twice as many calories for this for one like for the same measurement of other foods. So it's so easy to just scoop into a bag and grab a handful of peanuts, to scoop into a bag and grab a handful of cashews. But a handful of cashews is about 200 grams, and about 200 is about, I think it was like what, 150 grams or 100 grams or something. Either way, a handful of cashews, I weighed it, was 200 calories. And that's so easily done when you're walking around the kitchen, when you're deciding what do you want to eat, right? It's just so easily done. So I reduce the temptation. I don't have nuts in the house. I do have seeds for a healthy source of fat, but I just don't have nuts. And what I do instead, because this is a swaps, instead I make sure that I have some air fried and seasoned chickpeas or beans, any kind, always available, or edamame beans. Now I use any kind of seasoning. Seasonings are 0 calories. They are dried plants. So again, you're getting a little bit of extra benefits, maybe a little bit of anti-inflammatory properties, anti-cancer, all of those benefits from the plants inside the seasoning. So I will always have air fried chickpeas or beans with that are seasoned in the house instead, because they have a slightly higher source of protein, but they also don't have the fats inside them. If I am craving candy, number 7, I will defrost some mango. So I always have frozen mango in the freezer, just purely because it keeps for longer. And when you have that with a bit of Greek yogurt, that is a beautiful, delicious dessert to curb the sweet tooth. This might sound a little bit lame, and you're like, yeah, but I want my candy kittens, I want my candy. But if you start swapping fruit for candy, the longer you go without candy, the sweeter the fruit becomes. Why? Because your taste buds change. Same with the sweet potatoes. The longer you stay away from real candy, the sweeter these foods become. They then become nature's candy. So the longer you go without sweets, the sweeter these foods become. So that's why now mango is my sweet. Might sound lame, but it's a fantastic swap, especially for saving calories. And number 8, this is going to be like one of the quickest lives that I've ever done. Number 8 is I will, and this isn't a food swap, this is a hack. I will leave 2 bites behind on the plate. Now, if you imagine, let's do the math here, team, and I'm going to need to get a calculator out. Let's just make this simple, okay? A bite is on average about 50 calories. It can be less, it can be more, right? So let's say about 50 calories, and you leave 2 behind at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? That is obviously 100 at breakfast, 100 at lunch, 100 at dinner, which is 300 calories. Now, if you times that by a week, that's 2,100 calories. That is exceeding the amount of calories that is probably required for you in one whole day. And let me tell you, when you leave 2 bites behind on that plate, it is insignificant. Insignificant. You can see those 2 bites, you'll want it, you'll probably throw it away, you'll forget about it. So you can save at the end of the day around about 2,100 calories, an entire day's worth of calories, if you just leave 2 bites behind at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Simple, easy, very non-deprivational way of dieting. How fantastic is that? I'm going to put together a list of 5 easy peasy, low calorie recipes that are balanced, that are very delicious, simple to make. So if you want them, just comment 5 on this video. If you're watching on YouTube, come and grab them inside the Women's Plant-Based Weight Loss Support Club. I'll leave a link in the description box below. I hope this has really helped. Let me know in the comments if you have any other hacks, ideas, suggestions, things that you do, any questions. Put them in the comments below. Don't forget, if you want my 5 easy peasy low calorie recipes, I'm going to put that list together and I'll put you on the wait list and I'll send it across to you as soon as I've made it. I hope this helps. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye, team.